Well, as you can see on the title, folks, it's a question. It's a question because a friend of mine named Game Boy Sage over at DeviantArt, who I've mentioned before, along with Laser X5, known as Sonic SAT-AM X93 on DeviantArt, and many others. Well, basically I'm getting a little, how do I say, a little ticked off. Basically they're kind of like on the thin borderline of, you know, Ian's got to go and now's the time for it to happen, kind of thing. The reason for it is because of 234. Now, I don't have 234, although I might have it in the mailbox as we speak right now. So, but even though I have it, I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to open it up or anything like that, because apparently from what I've read, and through the summary, not through the summaries, but through the thought processes and all that, basically the opinions and from what people have read, it's not one of the most favorite issues among a lot of people. The reason being is due to the fact of what happens to the character Antoine. Now, apparently the character Antoine, in an attempt to save Elias and his family, ends up getting blown up, if you will, or blown away by a self-destructing metal Sonic. Now, apparently another thing that kind of probably gets at people a little bit, but due to the fact that she's under his control, is what Sally said to Bunny, saying that without her robotic limbs, she's useless now. Now, we know Sally saying that, it's not really Sally, that's just her robotic mind saying that. It's not her robotic puppet enslaved mind saying that, or something like that. Now, again, though, I have not read the issue. I'm not going to open up my last subscription, or my last issue of my current subscription and read it. Nor am I going to read the upcoming issues of my renewed subscription when that happens next month, because I got to wait till about the 1st and the 3rd to get a renewed subscription. Anyway, basically here's the situation, folks. A lot of people like Game Boy Sage, Laser X5, Sonic SAT-AM X93 on DeviantArt, along with many others at the Anti-Mecha Sally group, the Anti-R2 Sonic group, the SAT-AM Forever and all that, even the Saturday Morning Sonic forums and the SAT-AM Sonic forums, many of them are very, and even here on YouTube. I mean, you look at Ian Flynn's Bumble King forum, and for some odd reason I was able to get on there the other day, even though if I sign in I won't be able to get on there, but I was still able to get on there the other day. You know, apparently, you know, the growing concern about what's going on, the dislike for what Ian is doing is really growing. I mean, even those, I mean, I read some of the posts over his forum. Some of them don't like what he's done recently with this issue. And one person, if not about two, and one person over there, maybe several, I'm not really sure, have indicated that the contingency, those that are against what he's doing, not just with Sally, but now what he's done with Antoine and so on, and what he's doing with the comic overall, that the contingency for what he's doing is growing. Basically, the people that are against it are growing at a rapid rate, and not just at forums like his own forum, and not just at sites like, say, Saturday Morning Sonic and the SAT-AM Sonic sites, or even some people at the Sega forums and some people at the Sonic Stadium forums, but those at DeviantArt and YouTube combined with those here on YouTube and those at DeviantArt, it's like, according to this person and several others, Ian's right now painting himself in a corner that he may not be able to get himself out of. But the question is, though, is Ian making the comic too dark? I mean, like I said, he's painting himself in a corner by making the comic too dark, but is he making it too dark, and why? Well, honestly, I have to say that, even though I haven't read the issues, I have to say that maybe he is, from what I've heard, from what people have been saying, and honestly, that there might be a reason for it. I'm not saying there is, you know. In fact, one person commented on Game Boy Sage's journal on DeviantArt, asking why is Ian doing this when Sega themselves, Sega of America themselves, is trying to clean up Sonic's image. And like Game Boy Sage, all I can answer is who knows. You know, I don't really know. I can't really understand why he's doing it. My only opinion, and this is just an opinion, folks, is that he probably thinks that nobody's taking the comic too seriously. That there are those critics, professional comic reviewers and critics, older and more mature audiences and comic book readers, that look at something like Sonic and say it's still a kid's comic. You can't take it seriously. And maybe that's why, in my opinion, he wants to go in this direction, to say, hey, look, you don't think you can be serious? You don't think it should be taken seriously? Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And yes, it may be unpopular with a lot of the long-time fan base, but you know what? If I got to do this and this and this is to get you people, the professional comic book critics and readers, those at the Comic Cons, those that like the older and more mature comics, to look at the Sonic comic and take it more seriously, then that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And you know what? He does. And you know what? Maybe that's why he's doing it. Maybe that's why he's doing it. Do I agree with his method? No, but like I said, he has potential. He has the potential to be a good, if not a great writer, if he does things that satisfy the entire fan base. If he tries to at least say, okay, look, I understand people don't like this and people don't like that, you know. But, you know, he has the potential to be a great writer. Everybody knows that. Game Boy Sage knows that. Laser X5 knows that. Those at the Anti-Mecha Sally group that I'm a part of, they know that. Those at the Anti-Archie, at Saturday and Forever groups on DeviantArt, they know that. Those at all the message boards that I mentioned, even his own, they know it. But yet he's going in a direction many feel is a little too dark and gritty. So the question is he doing that? Well, here's my thing on it. Here's my opinion. Again, like I said, these are just my opinions. My opinion, and I know I'm repeating myself here, is I think he feels no one's taking the comic book seriously. Nobody that read, I mean, people that read maybe like Batman and Superman and, you know, maybe the Justice League and the Avengers, you know, and Transformers and G.I. Joe, maybe they feel, hey, you know, like let's say Transformers and G.I. Joe, they're based off toy franchises, right? They probably feel, well, hey, we could take Transformers and G.I. Joe a lot more serious than we could take Sonic. He's still a kid comic. Maybe that's why he's going in the direction he is. Now, do some people take comics in that direction? Yeah, they do take comics in that direction at times. They do. They do go in that direction. There's no doubt about it. You know, when Archie Comics first published the Ninja Turtles, who would have said later on down the line that they'd become as violent as they did? I mean, even though they were a crossbreed, if you will, a hybrid of the cartoon series, an expansion on them, sort of the hybrid of the cartoon series and the original stories, along with a combination of the Mirage Studio, or the Mirage kind of version of the Turtles and all that, who would have thought, oh, by the way, who would have thought, you know, when you read the first issue, which is an adaptation of the first 5 episodes of the original cartoon series, who would have thought, or who would have guessed that, oh, I don't know, 20-something issues later, oh, by the way, we're going to be violent. We're going to get darker. We're going to get grittier. No one saw that coming. But you know what? With the Turtles, you could get away with it because they were already established before them as being violent and gritty in the original comics. So Archie Comics and those writing those comics could get away with it. Sonic, from day one, it's never been looked at like that unless you read fan fiction. Or in other words, you read other M. He's never been looked at like that. Never. I mean, yeah, the closest you ever got was Shadow the Hedgehog, but that was Shadow's game, and that was it. But everything else, you never saw Sonic getting dark or gritty. Sonic Unleashed, yeah, that's another direction of being like that. But again, you've never seen Sonic go in those directions. I agree on that. But the question is, just because you've never seen the games, just because you've never seen the cartoon series, I mean, heck, let's face it, Sat AM wasn't even that dark. I mean, it was dark. Sat AM was dark and mature. Yes, it was, but it wasn't like what people are saying is going on in the comic. I admit that. I mean, there have been even situations way before this, where there have been things that have happened that have been gritty and dark, that seem to be too gritty and too dark. I admit that. There have been times. That's happened before. I mean, heck, this may sound like I'm defending Ian Flynn, but there have been times where, you know, you've had Ken Penders do it. You've had Carl Bowlers do it. You know, but again, that was just then. This is now. So the question is it getting darker? Has Ian Flynn made it too dark? Heck, has he made it darker than Ken Penders and Carl Bowlers have done when they were writing the book? You know, I know some people may watch this video and say, no, I don't think he's making it that dark. You know, I'm checking my time there. I'm sure people will say that. I'm sure people will say, no, Ken Penders and Carl Bowlers, they were darker. They were more mature than Ian Flynn. Ian Flynn's done a great job. He's doing perfect. He's done a better job than anything. Yeah, he has his flaws, but he's doing a better job. And you know what? You got your rights to your opinions there, and that's okay. You have the right to say that. Because like I said, potentially he has the ability to be a great writer. But the question is he going a little too far? I mean, it's one thing to take a character that was made as a comic book exclusive and maybe created by another writer and kill them off. But in the eyes of people, it's one thing to do that, but it's another to take an established character for almost 20 years, a character that was that was introduced mainly to all of us, not just through the comic, but through the Saturday morning cartoon series Sat AM, and potentially kill him off in the most recent issue. That's another. And that's what's really borderlining Ian Flynn in the fans' minds of having to be let go. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, I'm just wondering if maybe Ian Flynn's trying to send a message. Maybe he wants something. You know, maybe he's trying to send a message to Archie Comics and saying, look, I know you guys are getting complaints about this, but you know what? Maybe if you guys let me officially publish my adaptation, my vision of Sonic, the Other M, or something like it, as an official comic book and graphic novel, I'll leave this alone. I'll tone it down. I'll reverse things and whatever. You know, maybe, just in my opinion, maybe that's what he wants. It's just my opinion, but maybe that's what he wants. I can't say that's true or not, but perhaps that's what he wants. But is that what he wants? Or is there something more? Is there something more to it? We don't know. But the question again, is he making it too dark? In the eyes of some fans, he is. Especially with this most recent issue. Is he going too far? That's just a question I'm asking, and I gave my opinions. What are yours? I'll probably end up doing a text version of this, a typed up Dragon Natural Speak version of this in the next few hours maybe, and so people can read it if they don't want to watch an almost near 15-minute video. So comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll talk to you all later.